La Befana, a traditional Italian folk tale about redemption, kindness, faith, and perseverance. In the rolling hills of Italy, where olive groves stretch toward ancient villages, and the air carries the scent of rosemary and wood smoke, there lived an old woman whose story has been told for centuries. Her name was Befana, and though she kept the tiddiest house in all the countryside, she would come to learn that some things matter more than a spotless floor. Befana lived alone in a small stone cottage at the edge of a village, spending her days sweeping, scrubbing, and polishing until every surface gleamed and every corner was free of dust. Her neighbors would shake their heads as they passed, seeing her bent over her broom from dawn until dusk.
That Befana, always cleaning, never a moment to rest, never time to visit or share a meal. What good is a clean house if you have no joy in your heart?
But Befana paid them no mind. She had her work, her routine, and that was enough. Or so she told herself. One cold winter night, when stars blazed like diamonds against the velvet sky, Befana was sweeping her doorstep for the third time that day. A brilliant light appeared in the eastern sky, a star so magnificent that it seemed to pulse with divine radiance, brighter than any star she had ever seen. As she stood transfixed by this celestial wonder, she heard the sound of approaching travelers. Down the dusty road came a magnificent procession, 3 wise men dressed in royal robes, riding on camels laden with precious goods. Their servants bore chests of treasures, and the whole caravan moved with purpose and dignity. The procession stopped before Befana's cottage. The eldest of the 3 wise men, his beard white as mountain snow, addressed her with gentle courtesy.
Good evening, grandmother. We are following yonder star to find a newborn king, a child of prophecy who will bring salvation to the world. We have traveled far from the east, guided by ancient prophecies and heavenly signs. Might you give us shelter for the night? The hour is late, and we would rest before continuing our journey.
Befana looked at her spotless house, and then at the dusty travelers. She thought of the dirt their camels would track, the disruption to her careful routine.
I cannot. My house is clean. I have just finished sweeping. Perhaps the inn in the village.
The second wise man, bearing a chest of frankincense, spoke kindly.
We mean no trouble, good mother, and we invite you to join us on our journey. We are seeking the Christ child, the promised Messiah. Surely you would want to pay homage to such a divine infant?
Join you? Oh no, I couldn't possibly. I have so much work to do. The floors need scrubbing again tomorrow, and the windows want cleaning, and there's dusting to be done. Perhaps another time.
The youngest wise man, carrying precious myrrh, looked at her with compassionate eyes.
The time is now, dear one. This child's birth happens but once in all of history. Will you not come?
But Befana shook her head.
I'm sorry. My house needs me. You go on. Maybe I'll catch up to you later, after I've finished my work.
The wise men bowed respectfully and continued on their way, following the star that blazed above them. Befana watched them disappear into the darkness, then returned to her sweeping. But that night, she could not sleep. The image of the brilliant star haunted her, and the words of the wise men echoed in her mind. A newborn king, the Christ child, this happens but once in all of history. She rose before dawn and tried to lose herself in her work, scrubbing and cleaning with frantic energy. But for the first time in her life, Her spotless house brought her no comfort. The cleanliness that had always satisfied her now seemed hollow, empty, as meaningless as polishing coins while a feast happens in the next room. By midday, Befana could bear it no longer. She threw down her broom, wrapped her warmest shawl around her shoulders, and filled a basket with simple gifts: biscotti she had baked, a small toy doll she had once carved, dried figs, and honey cakes.
I'll go. I'll find the child and give him these humble gifts. The floors can wait. This cannot.
She hurried down the road in the direction the wise men had taken, but they had too great a head start. She asked everyone she met, "Have you seen 3 wise men? Have you heard of a child born under a miraculous star?" Some had heard rumors of strange events in Bethlehem, angels singing, shepherds speaking of divine visions, but the details were vague, the directions uncertain. Befana walked on, from village to village, searching for the Holy Infant. She traveled for days, asking at every house, looking into every cradle. In each home where a child dwelt, she would leave a small gift from her basket: a cookie, a piece of fruit, a little toy, just in case this might be the holy child she sought. But she never found him. By the time she reached Bethlehem, the Holy Family had fled to Egypt to escape King Herod's murderous decree. Befana had missed her chance by her own hesitation, her own foolish prioritizing of housework over the sacred. She wept in the street, her tears falling on the dusty stones of the small town. An old woman sweeping her own doorstep took pity on her and invited her in.
There, grandmother. What troubles you so?
Through her tears, Befana told the story of the wise men, the star, her refusal to go with them, and her terrible regret. The old woman listened, then said softly,
The child you seek brought a message of forgiveness and redemption. Perhaps your search need not end in despair. Perhaps it has only begun.
Befana looked up, hope stirring in her heart.
What do you mean?
The child came to teach us that it is never too late to change, never too late to choose love over fear, generosity over caution. You cannot undo your first mistake, but you can keep seeking him. And along the way, you can bring joy to other children, sharing the gifts you meant for him with all the little ones you meet.
From that day forward, Befana dedicated her life to the search. Every year, around the time of Epiphany, the celebration of the wise men's visit to the Christ child, she would travel throughout Italy, visiting homes where children slept. She would slip down chimneys or through windows, leaving gifts for good children, and, it was said, lumps of coal, or sometimes just dark candy that looked like coal, for those who had been naughty, always hoping that perhaps she might finally find the holy infant she had missed so long ago. The children of Italy came to love her visits. On the eve of Epiphany, January 5th, they would hang stockings by the fireplace and leave out wine and treats for La Befana, hoping she would be generous when she came. Some say that on her travels, Befana sweeps each house she visits, unable to break her old habits entirely, leaving homes a bit tidier than she found them. But now her sweeping is an act of service rather than obsession, a gift to the families she visits rather than a barrier against the world. And as she flies through the winter night on her broomstick, her raggedest shawl fluttering behind her, her sack full of toys and sweets over her shoulder, Befana is no longer the lonely old woman who valued cleanliness over compassion. She has become something more beautiful, a symbol of redemption, a reminder that our mistakes need not define us, and a bearer of joy to children throughout the land. The villagers who once pitied her isolation now tell their children to be good, for La Befana is watching. And on Epiphany morning, when children wake to find their stockings filled with treats, they remember the old woman who learned, though late, that love and generosity matter more than any spotless floor. In some tellings, it is said that one day, perhaps at the end of time itself, Befana will finally find the child she seeks, and he will smile at her and say,
Well done, good and faithful servant. Every child you blessed was me. Every gift you gave to me. Your search is ended, and your rest is earned.
But until that day, La Befana continues her annual journey, bringing sweetness to the new year, reminding us all that it is never too late to change our ways, never too late to choose love, and never too late to seek the divine in the faces of children. Today, La Befana remains one of Italy's most beloved Christmas traditions. On January 6th, the Feast of the Epiphany, Italian children eagerly check their stockings for gifts from the kind old witch. In many Italian cities, Epiphany festivals feature people dressed as La Befana, flying on broomsticks or parading through streets, continuing a tradition that has warmed Italian hearts for generations. She represents the beautiful message that redemption is always possible and that service to others can transform regret into lasting joy.